Are we going? Okay. Welcome everybody, week 2. Good to see you all again. We decided to change the presentation position just to keep you off balance. Okay. So just want to remind everybody to sign the pink form. There's a couple handouts today. There's the sign-up sheet if you need to meet with me. That's all at the front table there. I just want to remind people and new community members that not to use laptops or smartphones during the class. During the break is okay, or if you have, if you need it as a piece of assistive technology. So one of the handouts is this one, discussion topics. These are things that I talk about in this time period, and they're typically 10 or 15 minutes. And I want you to decide what I should talk about. So fill out that form, and if you have other suggestions for things for me to talk about, please write them in. For students working on individual projects, and we have 3 of them now, please consider all your options and then meet with me to discuss the project and send me a description of your project and your goal by Friday for individual projects. Okay, for students who are working on team projects, we got 5 teams formed already, so there's 4 more to be formed. We got exactly 27 students working on projects, so that works out perfectly. 9 teams of 3, so no teams of 4, no teams of 2. So you should know how to do this. There's a website that gives you all the information on the available projects, the people, their email addresses. So please connect with your fellow students and get together to form teams and select a project, because once the project is selected, only one team can work on it. So if you have a favorite project, that should be motivation for you to get the project, get your team together, okay? Right, so that's due by Friday as well. So I need your team members, team name, or you can defer on that. I'll just call you the X number team with no name, and then you can figure out a name later on, and the project that you want to work on, okay? So there's lots of projects still available, and they're all good projects, so please make your choice quickly. So the Magical Bridge Playground, there's 2 projects. There's one with Jay and one with Olenka. The projects, the first to submit, gets that project, okay? So do that quickly. So the 2 teams who are working on Magical Bridge Playground projects can share some of the responsibilities of driving there and talking to Jay and Olenka, but you 2 will actually have different kinds of projects, so just want to let you know about that. If there may come down to a few people left and a few projects left, so do your best to either convince others to join you on your favorite project, or keep an open mind and join somebody else on their project. All the projects are good. All the project suggestors are good people to talk to, so there's no bad projects. Okay. I don't require lab notebooks in this course. You can certainly make notes on your own, but it's not required to hand in. But you can make a diary. One of the things that you have to do at the end is write up an individual reflection on your project experience. So if you want to take notes that put in that document at the end, you're welcome to do that. I really encourage you to take photos and short videos of everything you do, because that will help you immensely with your presentations and your reports. So please take pictures of when you meet with your project suggester, when you're fabricating things and stuff like that, okay? So work with diligence. So this is already week 2. There's 4 more weeks to the midterm presentation. So things go really fast, so take advantage of all the time you have. Time is your most valuable resource, so use it wisely, okay? So for each lecture, there's a set of web links and photos and videos that you can refer to, especially if you're making up a missed lecture. And if you have a suggestion to make and don't want to send it to me in an identifiable form, there's an anonymous suggestion box for that. If Everybody who's fabricating something should be signing up for the PRL safety orientation and shop pass. So that might be one of your first priorities. Okay. So I just want to reiterate, I'm here to help you with your team effort. I'm here all the time. I want to see you do well. I'm on every team. I want to give everybody a fantastic grade. So I'm here for you. There's no antagonism. There's no tension at all. So please take advantage of and ask me questions. There's no question that is really silly or stupid. So here's the teams so far. Okay. So we've got 5 teams, and your teams will go in here. So I'm not going to tell you on a day-to-day basis how to pursue your project. If you have any questions, do that. You're going to have to do your own organization and leadership and figure out who gets what tasks. And those things can change during the course of the project, so keep that in mind as well. But it's a good chance to practice your leadership skills and organization skills, because that's what you're going to be doing. And certainly ask questions and participate in the class. Okay? Any questions on all this stuff? Okay, great. Oh, we got questions. Yes?
Can we have like a 5 minutes during the break for the people that don't yet have teams?
That's a good idea. So where would you like to meet?
Like here, like during the break.
Right here? Right at this pillar? Right here? Okay, okay. All right, perfect. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, you don't have to follow me that closely. I'm going to talk a little bit about the design process. I mean, I sort of developed this in my mind over the years. As an engineer, I have my own thoughts on this stuff. So the design process is simply a plan of action to achieve a goal, solve a problem. And it's a structured process that leads to success. There's lots of different design processes with different names and stuff, and I'm sure there's even a lot more than this. And they're all a little bit different, and they're all maybe directed for different sets of people with different background or addressing different problems, okay? But I want to specifically talk about the problem. That's one part of the design process, and specifically the understand the problem. So the first thing you do, well, that I do in this class, is search for projects for you. So I search for problems from people in the community in assistive technology. Identify a problem, which can be sort of tough, but I have to observe, talk to the people, and observe, what they're doing to figure out if there's a challenge there that's suitable for a project. And the next thing I do is write it down. I write down a problem statement that has all these elements in it, and this is what you saw in your handout and on the website. This stuff, and this is what it looked like. But it's very short and concise, and it just talks about what the problem is, but doesn't say how you might figure out how to solve it. That's up to you, and I'm here to help too. So beyond that point, then the next thing you have to do is talk to the person who this is going to benefit. And that's what Gail is going to be doing in his part of the presentation today. But there's more to that there's more to understanding the problem than just talking to a person who could benefit from a solution. And that's getting as much information as you can about the problem, because you want to understand the problem fully. If you don't understand the problem, how are you going to come up with a good solution? It's pretty obvious to me. And so how do you do that? Well, you look and see what's available on the web. You look at products that are already out there. You talk to other people besides the person, maybe their family members and other people, because sometimes a spouse will give you much better information than a person with a disability. Okay, and you can also talk to people who are experts in this field and maybe have seen this problem before. So understanding the problem and dealing with people is called empathy, but as an engineer, I don't understand that concept really well. So I understand what understanding the problem means. And so that's how my brain works. And your brain may work that way or not. It's up to you. You might want to look at what their disability condition is and read up a little bit more about that to understand the problem. And you solicit perspectives of other people, like I mentioned, and including professionals. And there's online listservs that will provide solutions to you as well that I can give you a link to. So here's some of my sayings, and these are really important. While a user, a person with a disability or an older adult, might have a good handle on the problem, he or she may not have a full appreciation of the benefits and limitations of technology. So that means that that person with a disability, might want a certain thing that is maybe not possible, or maybe there's even better technology out there that you could use. So that's up to you to understand that. And each person is a little bit different. That's why they're called individuals. And if you come up with a solution for one person, it may not be relevant for the next person. And for this class, that's okay. Okay, so it would be good for you to look at what's already published about that problem or condition, and you may want to look at articles. I've been collecting articles for over 30 years, so if you give me a search term, I'll come up with some hits on articles for you. You may look at previous student projects, and I can help you with that. And also look at catalogs of existing products, and I have some of those on the website. So the important thing is to figure out what products are out there, what solutions are out there already, because you don't want to duplicate that, right? I mean, so what products are used? What is the standard of care? But this is really critical, and this happens all the time. Sometimes, somebody will say to me, I want to work on this project because I think it's really needed. But sometimes the only problem is a lack of awareness of an existing solution. So when people send me ideas for projects for the class, that's the first thing I do. I look it up and see if there's a solution already. And if there's already a solution, then we're not going to, a suitable solution, then we're not going to do it. So I remember a woman sent me 7 pages of possible projects, and it turned out, and some of them were single-spaced, and it turned out only one of them was like a real project. So that's what happens. If you don't know what's out there, if you don't do a web search, you're not going to know. Why don't current solutions work? Why, if there's products out there that are supposed to solve the problem, why isn't everybody using them? Okay, these are things you have to figure out. But sometimes if you come up with a new solution that may even be better, people might want to reject it. And this happened in one instance a few years ago. Sometimes the old shoe is more comfortable. People are more familiar with stuff that they're already using. Okay, so even something that's brand new may not work out for them. So the story is that once you have a full understanding of the problem, then you can judge what's needed, okay? If you try to judge what's needed, if you just take a look at a person, it's not going to happen, okay? So one of the parts of the process is brainstorming, and I don't think I'll go through this right now, but it's important in general not to get stuck in a particular part of the process or get stuck on a particular idea. So keep an open mind about the scope and all the design concepts you come up with. And there's a way to rank them as well, okay? Sometimes you can use currently available technology that was not intended as assistive technology as a part of your solution, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, you're better off doing that because a lot of the work is already done for you. There's something that's out there, commercial and sold to millions of people. It's going to be fairly cheap. You don't have to invent that part of it. So if you can find a piece of something out there that you can use or buy or modify for your solution, that would be great. So we're going to be talking about how to interact with users today, and I brought in Gail to do that because he's just great at doing that. But one last thing I want to mention is there's a term that permeates a good solution, and that's the coolness factor. And people like to use things that make them look cool, right? And you like to work on things that are cool things too. So coolness is a big part of the project. And I want you to evaluate your brainstorming ideas and your solutions as far as coolness goes. Okay, so the process does not include, in my mind, building what somebody says they want built. Okay, because as engineers and other people, you have the creativity. As Stanford students, you have the creativity to come up with something that's even better, and avoid making incremental improvements over something that's already out there. So, finally, you want to use all the resources for your project. The PRL, all the people who suggested a project, the resource people, your classmates, and me. And one more thing I want to do at this time, which I forgot to do, is introduce Matteo. He came to Stanford. He wanted to come to Stanford as he visited last summer. He wanted to come to Stanford because he was interested in assistive technology, and he asked me, well, how do I spend a year at Stanford? I said, well, you can always apply for a Fulbright scholarship. And so he did, and here he is. So he's, maybe give a couple minutes background on who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm Matteo Dario. I'm originally from Italy. I've been working in UK, in Ireland, and luckily I came to California to enjoy the weather. Normally it shouldn't be like today, but today seems to be in Dublin. But anyway, you can still probably hear my Italian accent and a bit of Irish double accent. I don't know if there anyone from Ireland here? From UK? From Italy? Nice. Anyone from Europe? Oh.
Okay,
Nice.
Great.
Whereabouts are you from?
France.
France? Oh.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm
Okay.
an architect. I've been doing a work as a consultant a little bit. And then I moved into a PhD in industrial design, focusing on age-friendly design and assistive technology. And then I've been working with with the electrical engineers in the School of Electrical Engineering in Dublin. And then I
Okay.
here to Stanford. So
Thank you.
save it for later.
Yeah, Matteo will be giving a talk later on in the course, and he'll also be reporting on all the neat things he saw at the Consumer Electronics Show last week. So, in wrapping up, for me, you're going to go through a lot of prototypes. They may seem like failures to you, but it's not a failure if you learn something. And this part you've already seen before. So what you really need to do is start quickly, start prototyping with low-cost materials, do sketches, brainstorming, all that stuff. Next Thursday we'll have Debbie Kenny. She's an occupational therapist. She'll be talking about some assistive technology for people who have had a stroke, and bring them along too. So that ought to be pretty interesting. Today we have Gail Curtis to hear from after a short 5-minute break. And people who need a team, this is your pillar of assembly. Thank you. You can turn it off.